What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Indianapolis Colts Franchise here on Pastors Game 2, Madden 23. It is the off-season. It's my favorite part of the franchise, and I hope you guys are as excited as I am about Season 1 off-season. This is when we get to make changes and make the trades and make the deals that we need to make in order to make this team a contender for the bowl. And so take a look at some of the highlights from the season. The Colts had a pretty up and down season, ended up with a 9-8 record. Had some pretty high highs, had some pretty low lows. Anthony Richardson did a nice pass there. Anthony Richardson was okay, but it's and we also saw Owen Pappoe kind of step up and really make a name for himself. And so now it's time to look forward and looking at the Season 1 off season. Here are some of the goals we hope to get done from the roster in this first season. First, we want to get a couple quarterbacks, maybe some backups for Anthony Richardson. Nothing that's really going to push him. Want to see changes at the wide receiver and tight end positions, maybe upgrade the offensive line at the center and the left tackle. And on defensive line, we want a better fit at left end, want a speed guy with some speed skills, maybe look at right end defensive tackle, add some changes to linebacker, get a cornerback slot cover, and of course, replace a punter. And so the way we do this in weeks. We do 3 weeks, and this is the start of week number 1. And to start off, we got a couple fifth-year options that we got to make some decisions on. Kwity Paye is one of those guys. He's the left end that I'm talking about that we want to kind of replace. So while we are going to pick up this fifth-year option, he is potential trade bait, and we'll see what he can get for us. Eric Stokes, we're also picking his contract up. This season, he showed that he wasn't very interested in staying with the team. And so we want to see if we can convince him to stick around. The rest of the players that were unsigned, we're really not that interested in keeping, with exception to Pharaoh Brown, who's playing the fullback position, kind of a tight end converted to fullback that we're going to extend for a couple years and get him in the game. The next thing we want to do is kind of highlight some of the prospects. We only got about 4 or 5 that we were paying attention to. I didn't think this was a great draft class. It was okay. Not particularly good for what we're doing. It has some interesting prospects. The cornerback prospects looked like they were good, and that's interesting, but we weren't really trying to pull that off. And then a lot of quarterbacks. But this guy here, around 3rd and 4th projection, is Trevon Winters, and he is probably the player that we absolutely positively want to make sure we get. I love this player. We're going to take a look at some of his skills later on in the video, but Trevon is probably the most exciting pick. Covers well and tackles. Looks like he got tackling, and so that'll be interesting. Terrell McPhee is a right end and could be kind of a good pick for us, but he's been going in the mock drafts in the first 5 rounds. First 5 picks, and we probably won't get Terrell. But he looks decent. He's got a great combine, and as we get closer to it, we'll check him out. Trey Hayward, halfback, doesn't have the quickest clock on his run, but it seems like he could be pretty interesting with his other combine numbers. Keeping our eye on Trey Hayward as we could look forward. Interesting to see that he's around 3-4 projection, but around 1-2 talent. And so could be sleeper material. Trey Hayward could be. And then we got Marcus Taylor. He's wide receiver. One of the fastest wide receivers. Again, am not enchanted with this year's receiver core, but this guy looked like he could be pretty good, so we'll keep an eye on Marcus Taylor as well. All right, so first look at the free agents for this off season, and there is a name that we should all be familiar with. Jonathan Taylor was let go by the Saints. A surprise move. Probably Jonathan wanted too much money. That's been the track record, and they let him go. Also, as you look, you guys can look at some of the free agents, but we saw Amari Cooper there. One of the things we want to do this season, we've got a lot of young players. In fact, we have young players all over our team, but I'm interested in bringing in some mentors, and the wide receiver slot is one of the most important ones. So Amari Cooper could be a guy that we target to bring in to kind of mentor the younger players. Some of the things we've been talking about on the YouTube channel is, do we want to trade for Davante Adams? And that's the thinking with him, that he would mentor Alec Pierce and some of the younger players. So we'll take a look at that. But we're also looking here at Isaiah Rodgers. He could be that slot corner that we want, 79 overall, just a normal dev, but we really like him and made an offer for him. He's got the speed that we like, and he's a younger player that could grow with the secondary. Also, looking at maybe we can get a backup quarterback. We need to get 2 of them. So there's a name you'll recognize as well. Jacoby Brissett is going to come in and see if he'll join us. And then we got a major trade. It's going down. We just mentioned it, just hot off the press. Davante Adams will go to the Colts in exchange for Michael Pittman, a 2024 second round pick, and a 2025 first round pick. The Colts make the deal with the Raiders. And here's what happened with this trade. With this trade, I was just kind of playing around. I did not think they were going to take this deal. I totally didn't. I thought, man, they're going to want 2 number 1s or something like that. And I thought I would just see. It turned out that they took the deal. And the thing that did, that messed up our cap space. We had $20 million in cap space. He ate up all of that. And so now we've got negative $3 million cap space. We just made the offers on the free agents. And so now we've got ourselves in a little bit of a pickle. We've got to figure out, how are we going to make room to do the rest of what we need to do in the offseason? And so we started to look at these contracts, and bringing Davante Adams really is going to be the catalyst for changing everything about the team. DeForest Buckner has a huge contract, $20 million. If we were to drop him or trade him this year, the penalty is only $2 million. And so there's room there to trade him, get a player back, and maybe get some money to do something in free agency. And so now, as of this moment, DeForest Buckner, we are taking calls about DeForest to Buckner. Man, I can't believe that I did that with Davante. I hadn't even checked the contract, but that's okay. You know what? It is what it is. That's what we do here in the offseason, and that's what it is. Ryan Kelly, a center. We wanted to upgrade the center position anyway. Trading him may give us a little room as well. And so we started looking for trade partners, and didn't find anyone for the defensive tackle position, but did like Bryce Huff, who's playing for the New England Patriots. And so we started to put together a package, and this is the package that was accepted. The Colts are trading to the Patriots DeForest Buckner, EJ Speed, and R. Kelly, from who's playing the center position. The Patriots had nobody at the defensive tackle position. They were completely blank there. And so this is fills a huge hole for them. And for us, the key player is Huff. We wanted to bring him in. He's the type of left end that we were thinking that we wanted. And so we kind of fulfill a couple of our goals and make some room on our cap space. And so that is the wrap up of week 1, and that's a splash. Man, you guys gotta let me know about what you think about the whole thing in the comment section. Here's the start of week 2. We did get a backup. We made the change at wide receiver. We got better at center, and we got our slot corner, and we got our upgrade at left end, and we made a little. Well, actually, we lost money. So now that we have a huge hole at the defensive tackle position, we went back to the prospects, and we're looking at Calvin Rose. Rose is going to be the guy that we're going to target for the draft now. He's got to be a guy that we go after. The hope is to draft him and begin to replace the loss of DeForest Buckner with him. He's the only really good defensive tackle in this draft, and we got to go after him. So looking at the mock drafts, mock draft number 4, he's currently going number 7. We are the 16th pick, and that's going to mean that if we really want to get him, of course, we've got to move up. We've got to move up maybe to the, I don't know, something earlier than 7, maybe the 7th round, the 7th pick, 6th pick. The 6th pick was held by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that 7th pick was held by, was that Arizona? I can't see who it was that actually had the pick there. But we decided to give Tampa Bay a call to see if we can make a deal to get to the 6th pick. And sure enough, we are able to make a deal. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers make the deal with us and send us the first round pick 6 and Nate Turner. Turner was needed to kind of make the money work. And we send them a first round pick number 16. We send them the right tackle, right outside linebacker and Stevens. And we send another a 2026 second round pick. And so we're starting to lose picks left and right. But man, it feels like we got thrusted into this chaos with the Devontae trade. And so that's the move with the Buccaneers. We do get to the 6th spot. We also free up a little more room. We had an idea. Some players in the free agency caught our attention. We needed a little more money. And so we decided to trade Shaquille Leonard. Leonard's going to go to the Bears. And along with Nick Cross and Ron Harrison Jr. And we're going to pick up the strong safety from the Bears, Jonathan Brisker. Now, this move solves a problem for the Bears. They were light at the middle linebacker position. They do have Tremaine, I forgot his name, but not the other linebacker positions. And we are bringing young talent to their strong safety position. We get a little bit better at the strong safety position, but mostly this is a money move. We're trying to free up cap space in order to make a move in free agency that we hope will replace Shaquille Leonard with someone else. And so the willing and the dealing is happening, but it's tripping me out a little bit because at this point we're about to be, we've traded away almost every little star coat that was on this team when we took over. We no longer have Pittman, no longer have Leonard, don't have DeForest Buckner, don't have Grover Stewart, don't have Jonathan Taylor. It's kind of crazy to think that there's so many players that is no longer with the team. But the plan was to jump into free agency and to get Bobby Wagner. Wagner is an older player. We're going to get him for 2 years. Again, the concept here is to try to get him to mentor the younger player. We like the idea of Owen Popo learning under Wagner as he gets better and better. And maybe that mentor role will pay off in the end. Kwity Paye, we tried to go and move him maybe to get a defensive tackle, a second defensive tackle. It didn't work. So the plan now is to move Paye to the inside, see if we can get him to play a little defensive tackle. That's going to free up Bryce Huff to go ahead and play the left end, and Kwity Paye and hopefully the drafted, I forgot his name, Corey something or another. But the draft pick that we want at the defensive tackle position will be there to hopefully play that area. So that's the thinking that we got going on right now with that. Bobby Wagner does indeed take the deal with us, and so he's going to be with us for 2 years as we finish week number 2. All right, so going into week number 3, we still got quite a few holes to fill. First thing we've done, still have this pretty close to what we had already. We do still need to get a tight end, left tackle, and right end. And again, the right end was a if we can do it. The probably biggest thing is maybe the tight end spot. We do need to get the punter as well, and we'll get that worked out. Okay, so here's a recap for the free agency. Looking at the free agency, we got Jonathan Taylor, who went to the Detroit Lions. We're going to see, but Amari Cooper decided to go to the Titans. Mike Williams goes to the Lions. Grover Stewart goes to the Lions. And Odell Beckham Jr. goes to the Titans. Darnell Mooney goes to the Vikings. So you'll see that kind of play out on the screen. But the Lions making big moves. They added Jonathan Taylor, Mike Williams, and Grover Stewart. But more important to us, we're going to have to deal with Amari Cooper and Odell Beckham in Tennessee land. And that could be crazy. Could be crazy for us. Especially we already have to deal with Derrick Henry. And I think they got DeAndre Hopkins over there. So, it's going to be drama in Tennessee. They already was pretty good. We was having a hard time with them. So we need our young corners to be ready to step up and to do their thing against that team. A few other players that are moving around. We see Marcus Peterson after Darnell Mooney. Darnell's in Minnesota. Michael Pierce is going to play for the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, so quicker reminder for the prospects we're hoping to get as we get ready for the draft. Looking at Calvin Rose, that's his name. Calvin Rose is the guy we're going after. We have the 4th pick overall, and we hope to be able to get Calvin with that pick. Trey Hayward is the running back. Keyshawn Hills, we didn't look at him before, but this is the tight end that we think we want to try to go ahead and get. He's around 3-4 projection, but looked pretty good when you looked at his skills. And here we are still with Marcus Taylor. Maybe we get, he turns in an even faster time. 16 reps. His college day was even better than his combine day. So we start the draft, and here we are. The Detroit Lions are on the clock. They already made a splash in the free agency, and now they are on the clock to have the first pick of the draft, and they pick up a cornerback from Georgia Tech, Michael Florence. Is that it? Nicholas Florence is going to come up and be the player that they go for. Houston Texans is up next for the 2nd pick overall, and Houston is going to go with McPhee, and there he is as the player we thought would go in the first 5 picks, the right end, and he does go to Houston, and we will see him 2 times a year. First quarterback off the board goes to the Los Angeles Rams, and so now we are up, and no one picked our guy, and so we are going to go ahead and pick, his name, Calvin Rose. And I'm hoping that with all the moves, we do have a hidden dev trade. He's got some pretty good statistics, 85 acceleration. What we really want from a defensive tackle is the ability to block shed and to be able to get after the runners. Get after the run. So we'll have to take a look. He's got some pretty good statistics though. AA, BBB, AA. We like those. Those are all pretty good. So we're satisfied with Calvin Rose. And the rest of these we'll just work through the picks that we made this season, this draft. So we did end up with Trayvon Winters. This is the player we wanted. Trayvon is a right outside linebacker, has speed, can play the coverage, and can pursue. We've got a lot of players who will be facing a lot of tight ends, and so we've got to do it. He's got a lot of F's. He has some really important A's as well. So wasn't quite as good as we thought. Ended up just being a regular dev trade. No, I'm sorry. Ended up being was he I can't remember if he was regular dev or not. We got the running back there. He was a hidden dev trade. I'm sorry, we didn't get a good look at him, but we'll get a look at him in a minute. And then we did get the tight end that we looked at, Keyshawn Hills. So I had to look at another player with the pick that we had, and we looked at Jeremiah Pickens. Ended up being a hidden dev trade. Nice pick for us. Middle linebacker, has good speed, has good pursuit. A great pick actually for us. And I'm excited for the potential of Jeremiah Pickens. And so we've got a growing crew of linebackers that we're going to be able to work with. Okay, so here's a recap. Calvin Rose and Trayvon Winters and Trey Hayward. Calvin Rose only 75 overall. That's pretty good for a rookie, but was hoping he would be closer to 77. And some of the other players I'm a little underwhelmed with, but it is what it is. Man, we gave away a lot of picks to get Rose, and so we really need him to step up. This season has been all about, or rather this offseason has been all about Devontae Adams and really Calvin Rose. Those are the players we gave up the most to make a move about. Here's some looks at some of the best players in the draft and where they went. You can kind of pause the screen and look around. Maybe you've got a favorite team that you're interested in to see how they drafted and who they picked up. But some pretty good players. There was some good corners in there. There was halfbacks that were pretty good. Quarterbacks were decent. So not as bad a draft class as I thought. Just everyone seemed to be, it's a lot of parity. And so the way the draft numbers were looking, nobody really stood up and stood out. And maybe that was what I was seeing. But we looked at Josh Alexander and a few other players. Let's look at some of the teams that we are going to be facing. Is that what we're doing right now? Yeah. Let's look at, is this the Texans? What am I looking at here? Sorry. Oh, we're looking back at just the pick order. Yeah, Terrell. I wanted to look at Terrell McPhee to see what he was rated. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, I was looking at him to see what he was overall and was he worth that second round pick, and he was okay. He was all right. I was also looking for another wide receiver, and I think we're trying to find there he is, Marcus Taylor. Wanted to see how he was, and he ended up being a pretty good prospect. 74 overall, has some really nice speed, and could have been a nice player for us to pick up. Maybe we could have picked him up second and then got the linebacker that we picked third. But we really wanted that linebacker, so we went for it. It is what it is. All right, now we're looking at the teams in our division and want to see how they did. And so the Jacksonville Jaguars did okay. They got one really good pick at the cornerback position, but then everything else was just so. There is a left end in the mix that looks like they are pretty good, but other than that, I didn't see anything that really makes me worried about what the Jaguars did. Brian Gales, who is it down there? The right guard, Young, has a 72. Ward, the left end, is a 72. Actually, they got a couple. They got McMillan. They didn't do terribly, but I don't think there's anybody, again, that we're absolutely worried about. Next up is the Houston Texans. They've got Ben Ridley, and we really liked him. We knew we weren't going to be able to get him, though, but he was a pretty good running back. 75 overall, 88 speed, 88 acceleration. Not bad. But other than that, the left tackle, and again, nothing to write home about. Nothing to be really, really overly concerned about. The Houston Texans did decent. They had the second overall pick. And then Tennessee, this is who we're talking about. You can tell Tennessee is on my mind. And they got Blaine Watkins. They did something for their offensive line, but it was just okay. Nothing again to write home about. Although you get good talent on the line, and it's kind of a premium. Madden is tough on the offensive linemen. They are hard to find. So maybe one of those guys is a hidden depth trade or something, and will be a fast developer for Tennessee. But yeah, so that's a recap for the draft. What an interesting draft it was. And so here's how we ended up. We didn't get two quarterbacks. We only got the one. Didn't get the left tackle. Didn't get the left end. And did okay at defensive tackle. Here's a better look at the roster. Richardson is the guy at quarterback. Alvin Kamara, again, he's a superstar X Factor this season. But looking at him and Hayward, they are pretty similar in the way that they are made. So that's going to make for a nice handoff when that happens. Here's Devontae Adams leading the receiver core, and we're hoping that he can have a positive impact on Alec Pierce. Keyshawn Hills, he's just a 72 overall, and honestly, I think we're going to continue with Jelani Woods to start. Jelani has a much better skill set for what we want to do, and so I think we're going to continue with him. Looking at the offensive line, not a whole lot of changes. Might need to make some signings to add a little depth to the offensive line. And here's Bryce Huff, 78, 26-year-old. We like him. Speedy on the edge. Kwity Paye and Rose will hold down the middle. I think we're going to go ahead and start Rose as the main spot. We want him in on the pretty much every play. So Calvin Rose, you're up to bat. A lot of pressure on you, my friend. We gave up everything. Not everything, but we gave up quite a bit to try to get up to pick him, expecting Rose to really, really do something. Because this cat, I don't even know. We're going to see. I'm a little worried about it. Love our linebacker position. Lots of young players. Many of them are 80 and under, but really like the skill set. Hoping that Bobby Wagner can have a positive impact on a young and opportunistic linebacker core. And Owen Papo, we want him to continue where he left off. Jeremiah Pickens, we got to find a way to get him in the game. He's a hidden depth trade as well. Lots and lots of potential on the linebacker, in the linebacker squad. Devin White, he's 80 overall, 26 years old. And Trevon Winters is in the mix as well. So I think we're pretty good at linebacker. We may make a move. Eventually we're going to be too heavy there, and we might have to make a move later to trade away. Nothing major at the cornerback position. We're going to stay where we are, and we saw Dewan Brisker there. Was it Jaquan? No, Jaquan. Sorry, Jaquan Brisker is going to come in and try to pick up where Nick Cross left off. Nick Cross was okay, made some nice plays for us, but that was the move. So that's a quick look at the roster. We'll probably do a little bit more when we do a preview of the season. But those are the moves. We try to wrap it up. Took me about 2.5 hours. And so we wanted to cut it down to about 35. We got it around 30 minutes, I think, to get it done. Facing off against Philadelphia Eagles to start. We're going to lose that, but who cares? It's preseason. Be on the lookout for something new and the next couple of days as we start a new season and see what's going to happen. Thanks for hanging out with us. Like and subscribe to the video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see how it all plays out. This is Pastors Game 2. God loves you, and so do I, and I will see you when I see you. Peace.